Hey guys, this is Stu's back at the bench for September, October. First off, really, I said in my last video I was going to make an announcement as regards group builds. Yeah, this year I've put in for so many group builds, it's been untrue. Unfortunately, it's got to the time of year now that we're rapidly running out of the year, and to try and cram in so many group builds is just going to be nigh on impossible. So over the last few weeks, I've basically been umming and ahhing over where I'm going to get them done. Some of them I haven't even got started on yet. One I'm currently working on, determined to get finished, although it's about nearly a week since the actual group build officially finished, which was 30th of September, which is the Taiwan 75th anniversary group build. Now, I did start it in around about 2 months into the group build, because I was involved with another project at the time which I was determined to get finished, and I was hoping to get this done, but now with my new work schedule whereby I'm working split shifts, it's taken more time for me away from the workbench, so hence the time I did originally have when I was working at the old store in the old hours, I no longer have. And now we're coming into October, well, almost midway through October now. Time is rapidly running out for 2017. Now, I did say I was going to enter in for the CP101 plastic group build. That I am just not going to get the time to do now. So unfortunately, Kenny, if you're watching, buddy, unfortunately I'm sadly going to have to drop out of that one. I did dearly want to get a build done for Chris, because I know Chris Cortell contributes so much to this community. He's always got time for you if you need advice, etc., considering what he's going through at the moment, and he inspires all of us. Now, sadly, I feel rotten doing it, but unfortunately time is running out. There's just no way I'm going to get my entry done in time, because obviously I've got not only this group build to get finished, I've also got my own, which is the War on Tribute buddy build, which I have to say, I saw Frankie Day's reveal video of the camera, and Frankie, boy, that is one beautifully built kit. So thank you for taking part, my friend. I appreciate it. I'm honoured that you took part, and I've been watching you build step by step on all your updates. And when I saw the final reveal the other day, wow, beautiful work. Thank you so much, Frankie. That was a really, really lovely build. So I really appreciate you taking part, my friend. So there you go. Anyway, as I say, the actual group build itself runs until the 31st of April next year. So if anybody else wants to jump on board, you're more than welcome. Again, as I say, it's to do with any thing that was used in the Second World War, running right through the Cold War. It can be aircraft, ship, armour, you know, anything military. That would be fantastic. So if anybody else wants to jump on board and take part, by all means do so. Alright. I myself am doing the V1 with the launch ramp, but it's not been touched for the last 3-4 months. It's still the actual V1's still sitting in its black primer. So, having watched Frankie's videos, I'm thinking to myself, oh, I'm feeling guilty not doing any updates on it. So that is going to be my remaining build for this year. Whether I get it finished before the new year or not, it remains to be seen, but I do want to get some more work done on it once I've got this Tiger done. So there you go. Now the other one I'd hoped to get into was the World War One group build by Len Scarvec, who, as we all know, is Chancellor North Wales. I was going to do an ambulance vignette, World War One Model T Ford ambulance with a vignette and some figures. Again, time has cruelly made me run out for this year's entry, but rest assured, Len, I am thinking of taking part next year, because obviously it's more important because it will mark 100 years since the armistice next year. For nearly virtually this time next year. So I do want to get one more in. So there you go. But generally, guys, what I'm intending to do is try and cut back on group builds next year. If I'm going to take part in any, it's only be like 1 or 2, possibly 3, I don't know. But other than that, I really want to focus on my own builds, really. Projects that I would love to get into, because I've got a lot of kits in my stash here that are just looking at me and saying, come on, build me, so I know Shane Smythe, he's got a Sherman group build going on, which I think started, was it August? I'm not sure, I can't remember. He's got that running for a year, so I've got plenty of time to get that one done. That Shane I will still be taking part in, because I'm going to do my Fury Sherman with that one. So there you go. Steve Mottram's actually sort of asked if I would like to take part in the Vietnam group build. I'm not going to say yes, Steve, at this moment in time, because virtually I haven't got anything to do with Vietnam, but I appreciate you inviting me. If I can't take part, I will certainly be following the group build. So there you go. And glad to hear that you're getting better after your unfortunate incident the other weekend. So just take care of yourself, get plenty of rest, and keep up those good builds. And I have to say, that diorama you did on the T-34, awesome, absolutely awesome, mate. I'd say it's one of your best, so well done. Anyway, enough waffling on about that. As I say, I'm going to cut back on the group builds for next year. I want to do my own personal work, as it were. How much work I'm going to do is dependent on the workload, obviously, because now I'm working split shifts. It's given me less time on this bench, unfortunately, so hence why I'm put so many videos. I mean, the only reason I've done a few this week is because I've been off work this week, because I'm working split shifts. It can be quite exhausting, so trying to muster up the energy to work on the bench is not easy when I'm working. So there you go. But what time I do get, I do devote. So there you go. Anyway, in regard to my entry into the Tiger One 75th anniversary group build, I bet you're all dying to see how I've progressed. I know I've put photos on various Facebook sites and on Google+. But here we go. I'll show you how the Tiger's coming along, and here she is. Basically, I've got the camo down now. As you can see, I've just left the figures in here just to give you a sort of a sense of scale. All the detailed paintwork is done, including the interior of the hatch here, as you can see. Same with the other hatch, that's done. Okay, all the tow ropes are painted in, all the tools are done. I've even enhanced the battle damage on the Tiger. Now, I got the idea from one of a series of videos that I collected the other year. And I remembered the technique that a certain modeller by the name of Angus Creighton, oh excuse me, that's my coat repeated on me, fancy doing that in the middle of an update, but there you go. Angus Creighton actually did a couple of videos on. One was on various techniques on armour, and I remember this one. So basically what I've done is put in the red oxide first with all the battle damage, and then just gone over it with a bit of silver, just give it that sort of scuffed sort of look, as though the shells have been hitting it. As you can see, it's all on the back of the turret bin here. Exhaust shrouds on the rear plate, side plates, turret on the top of the turret, and even on the front glacis and frontal armour, as you can see there. I mean, by the time I actually weather this, they'll dull down a bit anyway, so they won't look so bright in your face, but it's just something I actually remember from that DVD. In fact, I think I've got it around here somewhere. Bear with me a minute, chaps. Yeah, here we go. It was a series of videos that came out a few years ago. I don't know if you can still get hold of it. I think you can on Amazon. It's Expert Model Craft Compendium Films, and this is Angus Creaton's one. It's Accurate Model EFE Detailing, and he went over actually on I think a late production Tiger on the various techniques he did with some of the Zimmerit that was blown away with the oxide underneath. So I remembered that, and I thought, well, I'll do the same technique again, and I'll see with my fellow modelling buddy Mike Cohen. He also showed you how to do various damage techniques as well, so it's things you pick up as you go along, you know. So if ever you see these, they are very, very full of information, useful, and some of these guides builds where they do the gallery at the end, wow. So, as I say, you can get them on Amazon or possibly on eBay. So there you go. So yeah, very happy. I mean, the camo I actually used, other than Tamiya this time, I used Revell's paints, aqua paints. I used that for the white. And then originally I did the Tamiya German Grey XF63. Now, unfortunately, when I went over it with the white to touch it up, it didn't come out very well, and so I ended up spraying it all white again, and then having the second attempt, and came across the fact I run out of paint. So the other weekend, last weekend, I went down to Holbycraft in Reading, and lo and behold, got all the way there, and would you believe it, they were out of stocks of it, XF63. So I ended up getting the Revell Aqua Colour, which was the nearest match, tank grey, and as you can see, it's come up really well. I have to say I'm quite impressed with the Revell paints. First attempt was trying to get the mix right, but once you do, oh, they get bed down beautifully. So I'll be using them as a substitute if I can't get hold of certain paints in Tamiya from now on in. I know Michael Hamilcar Barkus actually does use a lot of their paints anyway for his builds. Very pleased with the way the camo came up, and generally the way the finish of the Tiger is. And I use the black and white technique off of Andy Hobby Headquarters, so thanks for that, Andy. And then just basically went over it with the airbrush, well, second time, with better effect. So yeah, I'm really, really pleased. And then obviously did the detail paint work for the tools and tow ropes, etc. With Tamiya paints. So there you go. So that's that. The diorama, or the vignette base, is now done. I finished that this morning, actually. Well, it's lunchtime this afternoon, actually. As you can see here, it's done. It's basically depicting a scene just outside of Leningrad during the siege in well, it's supposed to be January 1943, which I think was the latter stages of the campaign. Basically tried to depict a very cold winter scene. It's my first attempt at doing trees and foliage. The actual branch, the actual tree itself, I did in Tamiya's red brown, which was the nearest match I could sort of find, having looked at photos of Russian forest on the internet. And then decided on doing that once I'd actually got them all mounted in and got the polyfiller down, etc. And then obviously for the first bit I'd basically outlined the colours with, again, using Revell's white, and then I did a little colour mix of my own to make it look like dark Russian earth, which came out very well, I have to say. Mixing a few Tamiya paints, and then basically went over it with the snow, used the flex paste obviously. And then obviously after that I just gave it a good old sprinkle with the Woodland Scenic snow, to give it that sort of very crisp snow effect, which came up really well. And if you remember back to my group build, I did the same technique on the walls, etc. The only thing I haven't done is any sort of snow drifts on the trees, because, well, I could do. I don't know. I don't know if I can really be asked to do it, really. But as I say, putting this flock on these trees, I'm not kidding you guys. First time I've done it, it was a real ball ache. I'm telling you. I thought I'd get this done in a couple of hours. These first 5 trees took me nearly 4.5 to 5 hours just to do on the first day, and that was yesterday. And at times I thought to myself, oh boy, what have I blooming put myself through now? But I thought, no, persevere, and I did. I got the first set done yesterday. And then obviously the trees here, these 3 on this side, I did in a matter of about 2.5 hours, because I'd actually got into a rhythm and a technique. And then after that was done and let them dry, I just sprayed it over with a little bit more Woodland Scenic glue, watered down glue, and then just sprinkled the snow over them, as you can see here. And then gave it a little sprinkling with the grass tufts, because the first time I actually put the grass tufts down, there were a bit too many on there and a bit too prominent. My brother remarked that they looked too uniform, so I thought, I'll take a few out, which I did. I didn't bother under here because the tie's going to sit here, so you won't see anything. And then obviously today, when I put the second coat of snow on, I just basically went over it, and that's basically toned them down a little bit more, so it looks more realistic, as it were. And I'm pretty pleased with the results. And then finally, I just went over the track marks for the Tiger with, if I can get it out, it's a set I bought at Telford, weathering products from Vallejo. Thick Russian mud to give it that very dark sense. And then I just, well, it did have a bit of colour bleed, which you can see. Hang on, if I turn it around, if you can see along here, there's a bit of bleed there. Unfortunately, where it got wet, where I wetted it, it just bled through to some of the snow. So, oh god, that don't look too good. So I tried to cover it over with a bit more snow, but it's not really done it, and because it's bled a bit at the back here, so the track looks a little bit skew. I might put some flex paste on that tomorrow and then just go with some small snow. I don't know. And then again, I might just leave it and just put another dousing of the thick mud down, just to make it look a little bit darker in tone with the one I've got here. So basically, guys, that's where we've got. And as I say, for me, well, I'd say me first full vignette from my own hand. I'm pretty pleased with the results, actually. I mean, it'll look even more better if we put the Tiger in. You know, just picture it with the tracks on, you know, just use your imagination. It looks really, really effective. I've just knocked my glues all over the place now. Oh well, never mind. As you can see here, it really brings everything to life. I mean, as I say, I've got, even on the side here, I've put, if I move the camera around, all the footprints of all the infantry that's going to be walking alongside the Tiger there. So once I'd actually put that down, I just went down with some old spare figures, feet, and just went whilst it was still wet. So give it the effect that they've been walking in sort of fairly deep snow, you know. So yeah, I'm really, really happy with the way this is turning out. So the only thing I've got to do now is just work on the Tiger, get her all weathered up, muddied up. I mean, tomorrow I'll probably get her clear coated, ready for decaling. Let it dry and then put the decals on, and then give it another clear coat on Sunday. Weather the tracks up, because the tracks are now painted. Where did I put them? Sorry, guys. Knocked the bloody camera over. Sorry about that. Oh, hang on. I don't know what the hell happened there. I must have caught it with my arm. Whoops. Right, let's try and get this back on par. Oops. Right, where are we? Oh, here we go. Sorry about that. I must have caught it with my arm. Oops. Anyway, as I was saying before I was rudely interrupting you guys, yeah, as I say, I'm just going to get her deckled, put another clear coat on, and then we'll start the weathering process with her. Now I did put the kit tracks, oh here we go, kit tracks are all painted, ready for weathering, so they're going to be done. And I might well use some of the Vallejo mud on them as well, just to tone it in, as well as on the wheels. I've got some reference material now, you weather this up, so I'll have a look at that and see if I can follow some of the techniques. And then hopefully I'll get it done in the next month or so, and then the last thing to do will be to get the figures done. So and then hopefully it should be done, if not by the end of this month, possibly next month. And then I'll get on with the Warren Tribute Buddy build, because as I say, it's still, the actual V1 is still in its primer look. It's not even been touched. So there you go. So basically that's as far as I've got with this build. This is the only build I've really been concentrating on over the last week and the last month or so. I was hoping to get it done by the due date, but hey, life got in the way, as it were. You know how it is. So that's that side of things. As regards acquisitions, well, I've been buying as much lately, to be honest with you, because obviously I had to fork out for new uniform for the new store. I'm going to put this phone back in before it jumps out again. Sorry about this. I'm trying to get the damn camera stand to sit still. Come on. Behave. Right, there we go. So, first thing I got, well, I thought it was a 1/35 figure set, but when I got it through the post I was a bit disappointed because it was 1/72. So, it's this set here. It's supposed as German headquarters in winter uniform. As you can see here, this is the scene depicted. I don't really deal with 1/72 because it's not really my bag anymore, to be honest with you. I prefer 1/35. So what I'm saying is, if anybody's interested in this set, and the details on the back here, because they're normally fairly good figures, just leave a comment in the comments column. The first one who does, I'll get it posted out to you. Alright, so that might come in handy for someone. Second acquisition, well, it was more a tool which I've been waiting on, which was going to be from a Hunter tribute build to my dad, which I am now going to put off till next year. Again, it's a matter of a time factor. I may well possibly do a bit here and there as an ongoing work in progress, but my mojo's really sapped on that at the moment, especially after the trouble I started having on it. It's just this one. This is the one I've been waiting for, his little handicraft mini saw, so I can get the resin off their blocks. So yeah, there you go. Next thing I got, as I did an inbox review, was the Revell 1/48 Spitfire 5C in the Trop version. And as you saw, the cockpit canopy was snapped in half when I opened it up. Well, glad to say I got the replacement through, so as and when I get around to it, I can get on with this build. And it does make a lovely kit by the looks of it. Talking of Spitfires, I've got its bigger sister, because my brother was actually building a commission at the moment for a Spitfire Mark 9C from Hobby Boss in 1/32. Well, that inspired me to get this one, which is Revell's Superine Spitfire Mark 2A. I just got this through today. Damn camera, there you go. I've had a quick look at it. It does look a super looking kit. Detail on it is absolutely awesome. Although I think it does need a little bit of aftermarket here and there, especially with aftermarket seat belts for it. And I'm thinking of getting an alternative colour scheme to the one that's depicted on the box, with a black nose version. So I'll have a look around online for the extra aftermarket decals, because I want to do a Battler Britain aircraft really. I mean, it does do one of two Battler Britain aircraft in this anyway, but it is a lovely kit all the same. And this is one of two Russian vehicles that I've got in. I did get rid of my T34s some time ago, but I regretted it, and then I saw ICM had one. And this is the T34 76 early 1943 production. Detail on it is beautifully crisp. It's got some lovely casting detail on it. And one of the colour schemes I'm very attracted to is the one depicted on the box art. And you can also do it in a winter camo scheme version, I think. So, yeah, that's a nice one. And another one I got. Now, I know John Moore's Scale Models just recently did an inbox review on this one. You're going to curse me because I don't really normally rate Vesda kits. I've not built one yet. I've been warned by certain people they're not that brilliant. But the latest releases they say are pretty damn good. So I ended up getting myself the Terminator. I haven't even opened the box yet, but by the looks of the box art illustration of the built kit, the detail on it does look rather good. So we shall see. I might even do an inbox review on that myself. I don't know, I haven't made my mind up yet. So there you go. Another thing I got in from Nicky at Veterans Kits when I saw it, I couldn't resist it, was this magazine, Aces High, on the Focke-Wulf 190. It goes through about, I think, 5 different builds and techniques. I mean, this one is a gorgeous one. This is Tamiya's Focke-Wulf 190 A3. I mean, look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? The amount of detail he's put into that, with the weathering and everything. And the end result is just absolutely stunning. It really is. Absolutely stunning. There's another one in here, which I think is an F8. Yep, they've done that one with the prop going round. And then you've got to do smoke effects with pigments. They're just doing experiments on various ones, as you can see here, using AK, MiG, etc. And this is a stunning build, the A5, based out in Russia. The amount of detail he's put onto that is just absolutely mind-blowing. It really is. Stunning kit, and this is, I think, the Revell 132nd one, this one, by Thomas Della Fuente. Going through how he details the engine up, adds detail, muddies up the gear bay, rivets it, various other techniques, etc. Even the oil streaks on the front, cowling, you name it, he's done it, and that's your end result. Absolutely stunning, especially with that checkerboard around the cowling. So there you go. And currently I'm actually reading Tigers in the Mud, and it's a thoroughly good read. I've been reading it at work. Very well written by Otto Garius, first-hand account. I've just got to the part where he's actually just getting his first tiger. So, yeah, there you go. So, I think that's about it, guys, really, because we're running into nearly half an hour now. So that really just about covers everything that's been happening as regards my modelling. So there you go. As I say, I'll possibly do an inbox review before the weekend's out, because I go back to work on Monday, so I'll be back to split shifts again, and what time I do get on the workbench will be precious, as it were, but that's the way life goes, I'm afraid. So there you go. Anyway, as I say, carrying all those great builds up there. I have been following them constantly, in fact so much so I've hardly watched any TV or caught up on any movies, which I keep meaning to do. But yeah, I just love this hobby, I really do, and I'm sure you guys do too. So there you go. Anyway, I will be doing further updates on the Tiger as and when. So other than that, have a good time, have plenty of fun on the bench, and as I always say, get kit crazy, happy modelling, and I'll speak to you soon. Cheers.